How did it come to this? How am I right back where I started? A sinner and a disappointment. 15 years ago, I looked at my life and I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like where it was going. I saw myself giving into the ways of the world, motivated by my own personal glory, caught up in gossip, gripped by lust, worried about what people thought about me, and focused on all the wrong things. I may not have been the world's worst sinner, but the list of ways that I was turning away from God was in fact long. And so I decided to make a change. I decided to dedicate myself wholeheartedly to God in every aspect of my life. I started by praying more, going to confession, trying to live a more moral life, but I knew I needed more. One of the biggest reasons that I joined the FRIARs was because I had seen enough of what my life was like in the world, and I didn't want any more of that. I needed the vows to keep me on the straight and narrow. I needed the strictness of this life to whip me into shape. Much to my delight, it worked. As soon as I entered the friary, I felt a tremendous sense of peace. The temptations that plagued my life before miraculously went away. I found myself with clarity of mind and utmost dedication to this life. For the first time in my life, I found that I liked to pray and was praying more than I ever had before. There was no duplicity in me. I claimed to be the very person I actually was. And so I believed, maybe naively, that this would be the way things would always be. I had chosen the right path and God had rewarded me. I had found my calling and God had exorcised my demons never to return. For the first, 2 years of my friar life, things weren't perfect and they certainly weren't easy, but there was a constant sense of progress. I felt myself becoming a saint, pleasing in the eyes of God. And then, my sins came back. As I began seminary in my 3rd year, my life got busier. There was more stress, more chaos. I worked to keep my prayer life the way it was. I continued to stick to the virtues that had made me into the reformed person I had become. But things started to fade. Little by little, my old habits returned. Little by little, the temptations and sins that had once plagued me returned. Only this time, they were worse. No longer a fledgling college student falling to temptation in a world of sin, not good, but pretty understandable, I was now a vowed friar, someone set apart from the world to live a more perfect life, falling to temptation in a world of sin. It may have been the same sins as before, but my disappointment, my shame, was that much worse. I thought I was beyond this. How could I look myself in the mirror anymore? How could I put on this habit, appearing to others that I was some holy person with a life figured out, when I was seemingly the same person I was before? And today, it's all the worse. Now I'm not just a seminarian, I'm a priest. I'm a leader in faith, responsible for the care of souls. I'm supposed to be beyond petty sins, right? Shouldn't I be filled with virtues at all times? The fact that I still sin, the fact that I haven't completely overcome all of my bad habits, just seems shameful. Right? What I've come to learn over the past 15 or so years is that our demons never really leave us for good. It doesn't matter if we're St. Francis or Mother Teresa, people who lived incredibly holy lives. The devil is never going to give up on us. He is never going to leave us alone. Jesus speaks of this very experience. In both Matthew and Luke, he describes a situation in which an unclean spirit goes out of someone, leaving them with a clean house all in order. There are times in our lives when we can exorcise our demons, converting our hearts to God and ridding everything that is evil from our house. But this doesn't mean that we are done with such spirits. No, he says that this spirit, looking for somewhere to live, will always return to what is familiar and will bring more spirits with it, causing more harm than before. The point of this story, as I read it at least, is that we must never let our guard down. We may rid ourselves for a time of the demons that plague us, but they are not going to forget about us. They are not going to give up so easily. They have been expelled for a time, but they are going to wait outside, planning their return. If we leave the door open, if we don't hold fast with vigilance to what it took to get rid of them in the first place, they are going to find their way back in, and it is going to sting more the second time than it did the first. Every time that we think we've won but fail again is going to add to the shame we feel. It's no wonder that Jesus put so much emphasis on persistence in prayer. Throughout the Gospels, he reminds his disciples to pray daily, to pray with a sense of urgency, to pray without ceasing. He knows that our enemy will never stop attacking us, and so we can never stop praying for God's grace. The problem I found in my life is that I go through periods of ups and then downs. I go through periods of deep spiritual renewal, aware of my sins and vigilant against the temptations of the devil. I pray as if my life depended on it, keeping a strict discipline of life, staying focused on what really matters. In these times, I feel as I did when I first entered religious life, like I'm on the right path. But then, I can get a little tired. Then I can get a little comfortable. Then I can get a little overconfident, taking things for granted. I'm busy. I think I'm just gonna skip this prayer just this once. I mean, near occasions of sin aren't sin in themselves, so what's to worry about? It's just one sin, just one little mistake. I can stop anytime I want. It's not that big a deal. And so we slip. And so we creep back to where we were before. The window is left open, the door is unlocked, our guards are left down, and the once neat house of our spiritual lives slowly becomes the house of demons once again. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. While it may be naive to think that once we convert our hearts to Jesus, that we will never face temptation or sin again, it is equally as faithless to think that falling to temptation is an inevitable part of life. Our demons may never leave us for good. They may hang outside of our house waiting for us always, but they can do nothing if our eyes are fixed on Jesus. Jesus has shown that he is more powerful than the devil. He has proved to us in the desert that human flesh can overcome temptation. With his help, with constant prayer and a disciplined life, Jesus can get the demons out and we can keep them out. But only if we stay focused. Only if we stay disciplined. Only if we keep our guard up and our hearts set on Jesus. I cannot say that I've reached the end of my purification or that I am filled with perfect virtue at all times. I still experience dips and falls, temptations and sins even as a priest. Just before filming this video, I went to confession. And I'm sure I always will. What's different for me now, though, is that I spend just as much time in prayer and fasting in the good times as in the bad. I know that the only way to keep me going and to avoid the dips is to stay vigilant even during the peaks. If you struggle with the ups and downs of life, struggle to overcome your recurring demons, fix your eyes on Jesus. Turn to him each and every day, in bad times and in good, and never waver in your prayer. Your demons will never stop pursuing you, so you should never stop pursuing the one who can save you.